When was the last time that you were angry and you allowed yourself to express it by screaming as loud as you could? When was the last time that you simply rested all day without thinking about what you should be doing instead, or all the things that you still had to do, or even all the things you would be doing in the future? And what about crying? When was the last time you cried without stopping yourself because you didn't want people to see, or you didn't have much time, or because you thought, now it's enough? It is safe to say that almost all of us have grown up in a dysfunctional family. The question here is more, how bad was it? The reason I say this with so certainty is because if we look at the school system as it is right now, and the work and living system too, we can quickly realize that the majority of parents cannot even stay home long enough to take care of their own children. The kids are forced to sit down all day and listen to a teacher, even though it has been proven that every child learns in a different way. And the way that we are living right now is very toxic. We went from living in communities where everyone was close to everyone and helped each other, to every couple having their own apartment and being alone raising children. This way of living and the system is not healthy, nor it allows us to be successful and free. So if we add that, plus the fact that as kids, we had to do certain things to please our parents and families and others, and even be a certain way, because only then would we receive love or validation. Otherwise, we would be punished or rejected, even if we simply prefer to do things in a different way. But this type of teaching, even though our parents and others were often doing it out of goodness and didn't mean anything by it, it was just their way of trying to prepare us for the world. But unfortunately, this had taught us some very negative and toxic things. Like, 1, we learn to see the world as very conditional, where there is no actually free choice. So it feels like choosing between having a really terrible job and receiving money, or being homeless. 2, we learn that receiving something big is only for special lucky ones, as if they have been specially chosen and you don't qualify for it. 3, we learn that whatever we want has limits, and that we can only want and desire what our budget allows us to buy right now. 4, we learn that we can only have something very good if we have earned it by working hard or doing something good before. 5, we learn that giving ourselves attention, love, presence, and taking care of us is a luxury, something only privileged people have time for, while work, taking care of others, and do chores are a priority. And the list here goes on. All of this has a huge influence on who we are today, how we do things, and even why we do them. This conditional presence pattern is a society standard, but it is a disease that makes us enslaved and imprisoned. So look at your childhood and try to see, in those times when you were crying, feeling frustrated or angry, how much time did you have to move through that emotion? What was the expectation and the reaction of the people around you here? How did it make you stop feeling those emotions? And what did they say about them? Did they also say that crying is for babies and not for strong boys? Or that you have no reason to be like that, so you either stop it or it would be consequences? Were you maybe left alone and isolated to deal with whatever you were feeling? How long were you actually able to express yourself before people complained? And how many times did others make fun of you because you were expressing a strong feeling? Did you also learn how to pretend nothing bad had happened and change the conversation. So this means that when the time comes for you to start looking inside and understanding what is going on, as well as trying something new to release and heal, without realizing it, you are doing that with a lot of conditions. And this can look like, 1, wanting to do many exercises at the same time or one after another, like trauma healing, parts work, yoga, meditation, breathing exercises, going from one retreat to another, and so on, with the expectation of shifting and healing as fast as you can, so that you can finally feel peace and happiness. 2, believing that only after you have done all that will you feel better and receive what you want. 3, while doing some exercises, you stop yourself because you say, I have enough right now. Or you expect to be done and heal after the first try. 4, after some time doing inner work, you get frustrated because you believe that you were done with a certain subject or pain, but unfortunately still there. And the list goes on. So can you see how all that is so conditional? You do all that as to get somewhere. But by doing this, you are not only unconsciously telling yourself how broken you are and that something is fundamentally wrong with you for being like that, but you are also saying that only then will your purpose come. Only then will you be able to do what you like. Only then are you worthy of something. So I was a person who always had to be doing something, and often many things at the same time if possible. And when I was doing nothing, I would actually feel bad and blaming myself, or saying something like, after the movie, I will do that, or I only will rest now because I know I will do that later. So everything for me was very conditional, even the resting time. And with my emotions in the beginning, it was the same. I would only be present with them in the beginning if it wasn't for too long or if I could change them instantly. Unconditional presence was one of the most difficult patterns to break for me. It was a pain in the ass. First, I had no idea about this concept. Then, when I look at my patterns and the way I was doing things and being, I was actually shocked to realize that everything I was doing was so conditional. Everything had a limit or a timeline. So actually incorporating this, because I knew and I felt that I couldn't go deeper and heal and evolve without it, was actually a difficult challenge for me that took a long time. And I'm going to give you an example of a moment in my life where I was tested the most with this, and I was able to actually change it a lot. So one day, I was invited to experience ecstatic dance, and it was my first time ever doing that. And for those who don't know what that is, it's simply when someone is putting on a music while you try to listen to your body and you let your body tell you how to move. But for someone who is so introverted and shy like me, that was a big challenge. I mean, at home, I have no problems whatsoever to move and do whatever. But in front of others, it felt like a nightmare for me. But I was really open to try it because I was in that stage where I wanted to try different things to get me out of this comfort zone. And in the beginning, I was just observing the people and the environment around me, get me used to it. And only after a while, seeing everyone just not caring and doing their own thing, did I actually start to feel more comfortable about it. So I started to move a little bit, but only when I would dance with my eyes closed could I actually liberate myself more. But I still stay in one place in the corner, never moving too much my legs. It was more my hands. I just felt like my legs were like stones, very heavy, and my body just didn't want to move. But I was still trying my best, and almost at the end, I was kind of tired somehow, and I sat on the ground, and I was just observing all that energy, that environment, and I was admiring how those people could actually be so open and careless and liberated. So when that ended, I was on my way home, and then suddenly I just started to cry a lot because I wanted to be like that. And when I was feeling that, I suddenly was telling myself, like talking to myself, saying things like, why the hell didn't you move more? Why didn't you do that move? Why were you even so shy? I mean, after all the healing you have done, why can't you just be more open and let people see you? What the hell is wrong with you? After everything, you are still here? Seriously? I was judging myself so hard simply because I didn't do more. But suddenly, it was like another voice came into my head that stopped me from it and said something like, of course you can do that. I mean, you have spent years having to be someone else, doing things you didn't like and working in places you hated, having to behave in a certain way just to receive a little bit of validation or love. And now, being in a place where you can finally be yourself, where nobody will judge you for your moves, of course that feels so strange. This is new for us. This feels too good to be true, like it's a trap. So of course you can't just move around and show yourself. It's a process. It requires more time of doing it. And it was in that moment that I realized how much I actually expected from myself. The standards that I held, they didn't even come from my true self. They didn't come from me. They came from the environment that I grew up in. I was expecting to act authentically on my first time there after spending years being someone else, being a people pleaser, and hiding myself. How fair is that? Wanting to change in one day after years of never being able to be that. And that just because I already did some healing? Does it even make sense? And in that moment, I realized how unfair I have been with myself. And actually, I even cried even more. But soon after that, I just dropped those standards. And I promised myself that from now on, I will be fully present with my emotions. And I don't even care how long it takes. I don't care. It can take 5 fucking lifetimes. I don't care. I deserve to be present with my emotions, to be patient with my progress, and to be kind with my body and myself. And you know why? Because I never had that. And doing this actually feels like love, like true love. So if you have realized how conditional you are being with yourself and you want to change it, here are some tips that you can do to see how they work for you. Number 1, you need to learn how to lose the concept of time. And with that, learn to just be, which is what we call be in the present. This means slowing yourself down to a point where you're not constantly worrying about something, not letting thoughts consume you and take you to another place in your mind for as long as possible. And doing this without looking at the clock to see how long you can actually be present. For me, I was able to do this more when I was on vacation because it was when I had more free time. But if you are someone who still has a lot of negative thoughts and maybe you are an overthinker or has never done any releasing, this can actually feel impossible. When you have a big attachment to things from the past or to things that you want from the future, this attachment consumes your mind in such a big way that it doesn't allow you to simply be present and relax. So this is the same as, for example, you go to war where you have a target, but you don't know where it is or when it's going to appear. So you have to constantly look for it and hustle to find it. So your body here is in constant alert mode, thinking there is always danger everywhere. And since your ego mind is to protect you, it's only natural that with this attachment will not allow you to just be and relax. So this is why you might need to first look at those attachments before you lose this concept of time a little bit. 2, go outside with no phone and nothing with you, especially no watch, and go for a walk. And while you are walking, you can do different types of exercises. Like, for example, try to find 5 different species of bird. Then look for the tree that looks the prettiest and ask yourself, why? What makes it so pretty? And then ask yourself, which flower is actually the ugliest? And why? What makes it like that? And then you can also stop in the middle of the walk, you close your eyes and try to name all the sounds that you can hear. Can you hear more than 7 different sounds? If you have too many thoughts about life in general and you cannot even do this exercise, which happened to me in the beginning sometimes, what I did was in the beginning of the walk, I would first talk to myself out loud about what was going on and what was on my mind. I just said everything that I needed to say. And that way I could release all that. And then I would stop myself when I was finished and I would say, okay, now I have said what I needed to say. There is nothing else right now that I can do about this, nothing else that I can change right now. So now it's time for me to be present. And for me as an overthinker, this helped me. So see if it works for you. 3, one important step to take is to become aware of your emotions first. What are the emotions you feel the most and where in your body? What do they mean? Where did they come from? Where do you feel them the most and in which situation? The more awareness you gain, the better you will be able to uncover and break patterns. I have a lot of videos about emotions, and not just me, but online, there is a lot of information. So give yourself some time to watch and understand your emotions first. Then you can start to be present with your emotions without wanting to change them. This is the most difficult thing to do in the beginning. When I started to be present with my emotions, really present, there were some emotions that felt more like my flesh would detach from my bones. It was really painful. And some made me feel a lot of burning sensations. So it can feel very intense and uncomfortable. But when they came up, I would let my whole body feel them without wanting to change anything. And I would even say to myself, it makes sense why I feel all this pain. Of course, it hurts a lot, and some emotions made me feel so unloved, unwanted, and so on. So it's understandable that I feel like this. And then I would also say to myself, but I'm here not to try to change you. I'm here to be with you for as long as you feel like it. And I will not abandon you the same way as other people did. I'm here for you. We are in this together, and I'm unconditional present with you. You are not alone. And I would allow all that to happen, to feel. And what happens is that soon after, you will feel less and less and less and less. And what happens is that the emotion that was kind of trapped inside of you, you finally were allowed to come out. And that's why after a while, it goes, if you feel less and less and less. because you finally were able to release it. Changing your conditional presence into unconditional presence takes time and patience. If you never had emotional presence like the most of us, you might want, for example, to heal anger as to never feel it again, or to do the same with any other negative emotion. But those emotions are a part of us. They will never fully leave. So this means you only have the choice to see them as your enemy and ignore them, just like you have done until today, which comes with other consequences, or to understand them first and then be present with them, simply to listen to the message that they have to give you. Not so you never feel them again or to get them out of you, but to accept them and let them be present, because if they are there, then it's for a positive reason. It's to try to tell you something. We have the impression that if we accept, for example, anger, and we are present with it, that we will actually become criminals, or we will start punch a bunch of people. But that is not true. Have you ever tried? What happens when you let your anger express itself, and instead of lashing out at people, you go to a room and you scream as loud as you can for as long as you need? And here you can hit a pillow or break something, it doesn't matter. And you stay present with that feeling, that emotion, no matter how long it takes to be present. What you will see is that the anger doesn't stay too long. And anger is just a cover emotion for pain. So after anger, what you will feel was sadness, not criminality. So after releasing that, you will feel the sadness and then be able to go even deeper to understand what is actually bothering you. And with this, finally, you might be able to resolve it, or know that you need help with it and start looking for a solution or someone to help you. This is something that I do a lot in the session. So if you don't want to do it alone, you don't need to. You can do it with somebody else. Learn how to be with your emotions and look inside yourself with compassion, knowing that the real reason you want to liberate yourself and look inside is not to fix yourself, because you are not broken, but to give yourself everything that you never had and nobody was able to give you. And you are now willing and able to be that for yourself, simply because that is what you have always deserved and nothing less. Look, if you want to become more authentic and connect to yourself, then you have to give yourself that unconditional presence that nobody was able to give to you. You will have to start listening to your intuition and trust that that is always guiding you towards the things that you most wish for and desire. Even if you cannot see ahead or you don't have a concrete plan to get there, don't forget that your intuition, it speaks in the present moment. So in the now, not in the future, in a few days, weeks, or months. And the only reason that you want to plan and you want to know everything beforehand is because the school, society, the system taught you that this is the way to get where you want to be. So this means that you never learned the truth, and you never collected the evidence of whether blindly following your intuition can actually get you there faster or not. But if you are listening to this, it's because it's time to do it, to experiment with that and see where it takes you. I hope this helped you in some way, and as usual, I wish you a very nice week.